I want to introduce you to a game that is inspired by the work of 3 biologists. Their research explores behavioral differences between 2 chickadee species that sometimes interbreed in a hybrid zone in the eastern United States. The game is called Foraging Frenzy, a natural selection memory game. You are a chickadee. You spent the summer months stashing food items all over the landscape. But now it's winter, and if you don't find your secret stashes, you'll become an evolutionary dead end. Each team has 4 players: a Black Capped-Chickadee, a Carolina Chickadee, a hybrid chickadee, and the game moderator. This is a game of memory, strategy, and chance. Who will win across 3 environments: harsh winter, warm winter, and urban winter? Only the best adapted chickadee will survive and thrive! Right. How do you play? Each chickadee gets a foraging card dictating order of play. On the back, each player has a map with different clues representing the remembered locations of food items and hazards. The memory maps are based on real differences in spatial memory between chickadee types. Players have 15 seconds to memorize your map when the moderator says so. No cheating! Take turns picking any single card from the board, showing everyone what you got. Continue until all cards have been turned over. The goal is to get as much food as possible and avoid predators. If someone draws a predator card, feel free to make a chickadee call. Chickadee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee! In real life, chickadees add more D's when confronted with more threatening predators. Chickadee-dee-dee-dee-dee! In the hybrid zone, who will win? Are hybrids more vigorous than their parents? Put your bird brains to the test and see if you survive the winter across all 3 environments. Spoilers ahead. Pause here and come back after you played the game. Link in the description.
So chickadees, how did you do? This game steps into one generation of chickadees. They don't evolve in the game. But by showing us which traits lead to survival in each habitat, the game gives us an idea of how chickadees might evolve over time. Black Capped-Chickadees live in the north, where the winter is harsh and there's no food for several months out of the year. So natural selection has selected for Black Capped-Chickadees that are incredibly good at remembering where they hid food items. Carolina chickadees thrive in milder southern regions where food is available year-round and it's not as important to remember where they've hidden seeds. Hybrids in our game had an imperfect memory, intermediate between the 2 chickadee species. In some game rounds, they outcompete their parents, reflecting that hybridization can sometimes be an advantage. As climate change leads to warmer winters and more urbanized environments, we can see how this might change which chickadee type will be favored by natural selection. We hope you had fun playing Foraging Frenzy! This game isn't just about chickadees. Similar stories apply to all sorts of animals adapting to our rapidly changing planet. Tell us about the species hybridizing near you in the comments.